Well, good evening, all. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for Monday, the 29th of January, 2024. I'll tell you, had you told most people today you're going to have a big up day in the stock market after knowing that 3 U.S. soldiers dead that we know about, several dozen from what I'm hearing about it, hurt, some very seriously, may not make it, and the U.S. now threatening and going to hit Iran, I don't think you'd think the stock market's up. Yet that's exactly what occurred. It got, how do I say this, turbocharged mid-morning when Secretary of the Treasury Yellen came out and said that the refunding needs for the first quarter are about $55 billion less than she first said. That kicked things up. In fact, if we take a look tomorrow, we're going to get Red Book Group numbers. That's going to come out at 7:55. Case Shiller's going to come out and give us some numbers at 8 o'clock. The conference board at 9. But very important is throughout the day, we're going to hear earnings. And you got the big boys coming out now. So we got some of the Mag 7. I haven't joined yet with Kramer, who's saying that now you got to say that Tesla is no longer part of that. I'll let him be cute. I don't know yet. But that is what's going on there. What you're getting now from that is those earnings are going to be very important for the day tomorrow. The Biden administration is now letting it be known that they don't want to attack. When they do attack on Iranian soil, they want to take out military installations with soldiers there in retaliation for what was done to the U.S. because Iran backs the different militant groups that are supposedly hitting the U.S. I mean, I know that under President Trump, you wouldn't be telling everybody what you're going to be doing. You do it, you don't tell the world what you're doing and telegraph it this way. I've never understood the Biden administration. I mean, you got to keep things tight to your vest when you do these things. You don't tell the world, and then you're going to do it at some point down the road. It's just nuts. I don't know how to explain it. All right, and this is just something I don't get. I'm looking at how gold's reacted. It came back alive. We are looking at the airlines were sort of mixed today. Car stocks were up. You see that Lucid is up, Rivian was up, Ford was up, GM was up, Tesla's up $7.68, NVIDIA another $14, hasn't finished going up. AMC got down, did what I wanted. It hit the $4 mark, got under it. Now it's got to figure out, is that a level it can live with? And that's what nobody really knows. Now, one of the stories that's been ongoing, and I know you know it, is about Boeing. Today, Ryanair came out and they said, hey, if some of the clients that have these jets that are getting ready to be delivered don't want them, at the right price, I don't know what that phrase means, but at the right price, they would be pleased to step in and take delivery of those instead of the airlines that don't want them. Basically, what I'm going to repeat, and all I can tell you is my experience with airplanes. And yes, I was a pilot, not a commercial pilot, nothing like that, single engine. Generally speaking, when you find the flaw in a new plane, and I remember because I flew a couple of brand new planes that came up, and I mean new, not remakes of planes that have been around 50 years, and these are the newest production of them. I'm talking brand new planes. Planes have problems that you find after all the testing. It's just the way that it works. They're finding these. These planes will be the safest things a year from now that you can imagine. Do I think they're going to let up any of these and that same exact incident can happen? No. And I think the airlines realize that, and so does everybody else. And this was very clever of Ryan, I think, to make that statement. I love the fact the right price. That was brilliant. And these are bright guys, so very smart. But as you can see, this incident has taken you from approximately the 270 level down to nearly 195. So the stock has lost about a third of its value in round figures. Okay. The question is, where does it start getting its footing? Is there another shoe to drop? what's going to happen. And when you hear that the Fed, the FAA says, well, we're not going to let you expand your production. That's right. They can't expand, but they can finish what they're producing and keep at those numbers. They just can't expand till all this gets worked out. It will get worked out. Air safety in America is really a blue ribbon thing. It'll stay that way. I have no fear of going in one of those planes, I can tell you that. Lower highs, lower lows, and because every one of them have been checked now, that isn't going to happen. I'd be dead, but I'd be shocked. Resistance, what you have it. You're not going to just turn this on a dime, and I don't even see the beginning on the charts yet of action that wants to turn it. Where do you see that? I mean, you still have lower highs, lower lows. Now you're making the 18-day average of closes race towards the combination of the 100 and the 200, and the market's under everything. That's a bearish formation. The support for the market's the lower Bollinger Band if it wants to go back down there, and that would be 189.82. It was running the bands right through here. I call that the Gorilla Glue trade. Then it moved to the right-hand side and ran into those moving averages. The next time up and through them, especially I think right here, the 217 area is probably on this chart formation. The formation can change over the next couple of days, but under that formation, a sign that a bottoming process is probably underway. I didn't say get bullish, any of that. The question is, where does it stop falling more than anything else? The market had gotten, just so we can take a look here, if you look at the embedded readings, both numbers under 20, the day before under 20, the day before under 20. So you have your embedded reading. You had lost it here and you regained it. Watch. So for me, what's my signal that the market's going to try to bottom out? When the red line closes over right now, 21, that is my signal. You probably are going to make a run back up there. Would I be telling clients to go short down here? I can tell you I would not be telling them to do that. This fell because of an incident, not because Boeing isn't doing well in making airplanes. Yes, this was a flaw. Happens. Higher high, lower low, battleground in uranium right at the 18-day average of closes. Not a friendly chart. UGA gasoline fund, okay. My tip-off today, having been around these markets as long as I have been, tip-offs come when I saw the market overnight, and I was up at, I'm trying to remember, I think 1:32 in the morning I was watching what the crude was doing, and that's all I cared about. I could care less about gasoline and that. It's going to follow whatever the crude's doing on this type of move. And I watched the crude do that, and then I'm up anyways at 3:30. I get up and I go, I think they caught the longs. And I didn't know what was going on, but you nosedove the rest of the day. That's the way to look at it. And that told me that the situation in the Mideast is under control. I have no idea what the Biden administration will or won't do. But this is not, at this point in time, escalating. And then the articles came out, of course, if you read from Fox, CNBC, Bloomberg, I can go on and on. Is this the beginning of the spiral where the market finally gets out of control? I don't think so. And I write about that in tonight's newsletter. I give all the details why. First off, Iran's problem with the United States is not Qatar's problem with the United States. It is not the UAE. It is not Saudi Arabia. At best, OPEC is a bunch of guys that get together to manipulate price, but there's no love between them. And if you don't want to sell them the oil for the U.S., for example, if they want to, Iran says, don't anybody sell the U.S. oil, there's plenty out there that want to. So you got to watch that. By the way, talking oil, the United States is threatening Venezuela right now and telling them nonsense. The president has absolutely lied on everything he said. He's interfering with the elections again. They are coming up. The U.S. had a 6-month treaty that we have told them tonight we will not go forward with the treaty. On the 31st, J.P. Morgan was about to rearrange an index fund that would allow institutional money to buy some bonds. They need certain ratings to do that in the banking system. I don't think that they're going to go ahead with it. Not because it's politics. How dare they? If they tell people to buy it and the Biden administration comes in and turns off the oil again, that puts, I think, JP in a not the best position. Had this all happened after JP just approved it, they wouldn't have known this. But now, knowing it, there is a due diligence. I'd be surprised if they went ahead. And that will hurt Venezuela. They'll, of course, come out, no, we'll do everything correct. Don't believe them. When the elections come and gone, then believe them. And what is that, Maduro? The higher highs, higher lows, still very bullish in the energy. And I'm surprised gasoline was up today. In the industrial sector, we get another big reading today, and it's a disaster. Manufacturing in America, every single one of the different indices that comes out is just an ugly one. If you work with me in the mornings and you get my subscriber videos, I went through that in detail for everybody. Remember I said $4, that could be a big important number in AMC. We got to $3.98 again today, and I've picked that as a zone. I started off, to be very honest, I thought 7 would hold. And when I saw it wouldn't hold and I saw the SAG strike and all, I said, nah, that's way too high. They're not going to get movies to the end of the first quarter. Where might this market go? And then I started watching and I said, it could be the $4 mark. Am I guessing? 100% guess. Is there chart action to buy this? Absolutely not. Are we starting to get signals to be out of shorts? Not yet. You got to lose the embedded reading to do that. And when you lose it, then it is time to be out of shorts. I don't know if that's a bottom, but I wouldn't want to be short anymore. The consumer, they just keep spending. This guy is just strong as can be, defying everything, overbought as can be, into the Bollinger Band. I'd let somebody else own it. The way I teach charting, that's where I would have told pros to come out today, or my traders. In XHB, the home builders, again, remember how we were nosediving and suddenly this market's got its footing, and that's what I've been telling people. Plus, you're back under 4.1 in the 10-year notes. We're looking at mortgages in the neighborhood of 6.9. They vary between 6.6 up to 6.9. They've climbed a little bit this past week as we saw interest rates were climbing. Now interest rates are falling again, so I would look for that to be the case. And spring isn't far away. But you're not going to attract a lot of people with a 7 in front of mortgages. You've got to get it where they're underneath that number. And I'm obviously talking not the super jumbo, just a 30-year mortgage. In XLE, you've come up into a resistance area, the 200-day average, and you are overbought in the market. In gold, this was not good performance in gold. That was another thing that told me. Gold should have roared when it reopened on Sunday night. And I'm looking at gold, they go, it's not even up. So the market didn't think this Iran situation where they killed a serviceman would get a situation to trip over itself and create a big regional war, that the U.S. going directly on Iran. And tonight the Biden administration is telling you as much. Hey, we hate them. They're causing mischief. They're doing all this. We're not going to attack them on their home property. That could set off something we don't want. Every Republican is looking at Biden cross-eyed in anger. What the hell are you talking about? And it's just an interesting time in the market. I didn't say he's avoiding a war. He is, all right? I'm saying you keep your mouth shut and you do what you got to do privately. And I know he's my president, but I don't care. There's a better way to do this. Higher lows, higher highs, and I respect my president. I promise you that, okay? I mean, that's what this country's about. He is the leader. Higher highs, higher lows, and right through here, what you've got to do is look at resistance. So don't get too married on these markets. If this isn't setting off everything there, then there's something else brewing, and guess what it is? Word late tonight that possibly there is a 2-month deal about to be announced at any point here where if they can get Israel and Hamas to the final points. The framework has been agreed to, and it took our CIA director to get there and put this together. It's not done. Hamas hasn't signed off. Israel hasn't signed off. Apparently, everybody around the deal thinks it's done except the two players that are the key players to this whole thing. But I think the world is really tired of all this, but I don't know what the end game is. And nobody does. And where is the end game? In the copper market, you can see the resistance. Had China not done all these new packages to spur the economy on, hearing today that Evergrande, their huge real estate firm, was ordered by the Hong Kong bank into forced liquidation. Now, forced liquidation in China, and again, everything I read, is interesting. You would think whatever they say in Hong Kong, that's how it is on the mainland. Apparently, it's not. And they're saying that there are still units working, that they're finishing units up, they're going to sell them, and it's business as usual in some units. I don't understand that, all right? So I'm lost as to what this all means. I think the Hong Kong deal is done. The courts ordered the liquidation, and people that were buying bonds and notes, they're probably crying tonight if they're based out of there. I don't know what this means on mainland. And when I read these stories, again, I'm not an expert on Chinese law in any manner, and you would think China's won. If Hong Kong ordered the liquidation, why isn't that taking place on the mainland? In BND, again, you now know with Yellen what's going on there and how things are going here. Word that, the economy's going to weaken. I was listening today, analyst after analyst on CNBC giving me reasons why this economy is so much worse than it appears and that a recession is right around the corner. I mean, it was one after the other. And yet, that's not what the market is doing. Today, if you go to Bloomberg as an example and you read it, market overstretched, and you'll hear JP Morgan analyst, the market is stretched. It has been stretched, my friends, since mid-December, and then it just kept going into January or coming out of January right now. So we have a 3-month rally that hasn't stopped yet. Is it stretched? Doesn't take a genius to say it's stretched. But if you believe that and you're not in it, you're left behind. And now you don't know how to get in it. That's the problem. Today, I got very aggressive in the morning putting out trade recommendations. A lot of them got filled. So I was very, very happy. And the market spurred afterwards. So who knows? Tomorrow's a whole different day. You can lose it all back. You don't know. Higher highs, higher lows. I'm looking for resistance now up here at the 73.42 area. But would I tell any client of mine to buy TLT, BND, go into the dollar or the euro right in front of the Fed decision? Remember, the 2-day meeting for the Federal Reserve starts tomorrow, ends Wednesday. Listen for the key word. The key word that I think everybody's going to hone in on is there upside risk? And if that comes out of the statement, it's been taken by analysts now to mean that the Fed is in the discussion phase of when the cuts come and that they're soon. If that's still in the statement, analysts seem to think, and this is, again, everything I'm reading, that means they haven't reached that point just yet. So I'll be looking at that to see if it's there. In FXE, you can see how you're down to the Bollinger Band. What would you do the first time you hit a Bollinger Band and you're oversold? If you don't tell me you short cover, you don't know what I talk about here in any manner at all. And that's a shame unless you're brand new. Now, you want to learn what we do? We offer this. Now, this goes down about 2 more rows. And every one of these is a free offering that we have. And you just move your cursor here, you click it, you choose, it's a basket, in other words, this is your shopping cart. You'll then, when you're done, at the bottom of this, you put in your email address and your name, and we get everything right on out to you. Everything we give you is done via email, nothing in the regular post. That ended many, many years ago. And I think you'll find it from trading ideas to the Arun indicator, pivot point indicator, courses. You can get a couple-week trial to our charts of the day, which are phenomenal with price counts. Really something to see. Gives you an idea where the market's going in there. So take a look at it. Try our charting software. I know so many of you write me about the charting software you're using, and a lot of them are archaic. I mean, we have some pretty sophisticated things. How do you get this? IraEpstein.com. Go to free offers on the top left. You can move your cursor right here as well, and you'll see an icon. Give that a click, and you'll be taken right where you have to be. IraEpstein.com. I'll catch up with you in the morning. You have a good day.